All you get is cold looks everywhere you turn. Headed down the wrong road, never gonna learn. It's always the same, you're not gonna change. So stomach the pain, it's for the love of the game. All you get is cold looks everywhere you turn. Headed down the wrong road, never gonna learn. It's always the same, you're not gonna change. So stomach the pain, it's for the love of the game. See the place.
What up? I'm about to do an interview right now. Nightmare on Sedgwick. What up, Dro? Hummingbird, what up?
All right, everyone. This is 7 Octoberz here with another episode of Nightmare on Sedgwick Avenue. It's season 2, episode 5. Today I have a special guest, Pawz One. Before I bring him on the screen, I'm going to go ahead and give a quick intro of him. So he's an Los Angeles MC. He just dropped his latest EP, Dance on My Grave. I just played one of the tracks off the EP called Wrong Road. So go check it out. We'll be talking about that in a second. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring him here on the screen. Hey, Pawz, what's up?
What up, what up? Shit,
Hey.
I just finished my podcast a little while ago, and like I think we did like 3 hours or some shit, and like,
Oh, shit.
man, it's funny because afterwards you just feel like you still hear people talking in your head.
Yeah.
It's just like I just try to close my eyes and like
Get
all
to your zone.
yeah,
Well,
I
thank you.
appreciate you having me. Shit.
Yeah, no, thank you for making time to talk with me for a little bit. So we'll talk about your podcast too, but I kind of want to have you introduce yourself to those of like the people that follow me might not know specifically who you are. So if you can introduce yourself, where you're from, how long you've been rapping, what's the meaning behind your name?
All that good stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm an MC from Los Angeles. MC isn't a title that you're given easily. Master of ceremonies, meaning like, yeah, you can rap, but can you rock a party? Can you talk to the crowd? And when it comes to recording and shit, it's I guess you uphold more of the hip hop culture aspect as opposed to just rap and trying to cash in real quick, creating a gimmick and so on. So the MC thing was real big. I didn't add it to my name. My name actually came from graffiti. So
Okay.
that was my introduction into the culture of hip hop, was really just being a fucking vandal, going out, carving my name, tagging my name anywhere I could, everywhere I could. And then from that, being a fan of music, being a fan of hip hop, kind of jumping into the rhyming aspect, because we would drink, smoke, and kind of cipher or whatever. And I had shit on my mind, and I'd say a couple lines. And then eventually they're like, yo, well, you're pretty good. So when we go to these parties, we want you to represent the crew on the mic.
Yeah.
And so that was my job, more or less. And then
Cool.
that kind of evolved into battle rap, and then battling other dudes from other graffiti crews and other cities or whatever, coming from LA. And I say LA meaning like the general, the county, whatever the fuck, because I've lived in Long Beach, I was born
Yeah.
in Compton, I've lived in Norwalk, Bellflower, Pomona, I've lived all over.
Okay.
And so taking that and going to other countries and other states, when you say like, well, I'm from LA, because if I were to tell you, yo, I live in Whittier, they're like, well, where the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And I get it, it's part of hip hop to put your city on the map and things like that, and I agree. But that only works if your city represents for you.
That's true.
Otherwise you're just kind of like just a talking head, kind of shouting it out, trying to put your city on the map. If your city doesn't get behind what you're doing, it's kind of pointless. So I just say LA. I'm an MC. My background is graffiti, and hip hop is pretty much my religion.
Dope. And do you still graffiti or not anymore?
Every now and then I'll catch a spot, I'll do a character, this and that. But to be honest, like I did a lot of jail time because of graffiti, and
Yeah.
because of the things that come with graffiti. uh it's kind of weird because my experiences were, I got the shitty experiences where, like, I was in high school, somebody gave me a black book, and then somebody ratted me out, a teacher or somebody, they found a black book, and they
Mhm.
basically said, look, you got to tell us who's who in this book. Otherwise, we're going to pin you for all this vandalism for every name that's in this book. So I told him, go fuck
Oh, wow.
yourself. And, you know, and from there, juvenile hall and this and that. But I had a lot of those type of experiences coming from graffiti. But every now and then I'll catch a spot. I'll hit up the homies, rest in peace. I might, catch a spot for myself or the crew or somebody I'm with, paint a character. That was my thing, was the characters. Was, at the time, a lot of cats had throw ups. They had, burners, pieces, whatever, good hand styles. So I was like, all right, well, how do I be unique? Because I didn't get into this to just do what you're doing.
Yeah.
Same applies to rap. So I like drawing, so I did little characters, little faces, and they were unique to me. And I
Yeah.
kind of ran with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's dope. And then I don't know if you remember, but the first time I actually met you, for those watching, I met you at the Shabam Sadiq show in Escondido at the Storm Brewery. So like you said, you're an MC, you're a podcast host. You also have your clothing line or clothing merch.
Yeah.
What made you like fall in love with hip hop? I know you mentioned graffiti, but was there like a specific artist or song or that got you into the hip hop, you know, the scene?
I think what's weird about that is it's kind of hard to ask somebody uh a particular moment. I think including yourself, myself, everybody tuning in, you it pulled you in. It was like magnetism. Like you couldn't describe it. You
Yeah.
didn't know what it was. You didn't know why it was. You remember where you were, how you felt, things like that. But it was just a feeling. And for me, it was all these different feelings, and then come to find out, well, that's what they call hip hop. Seeing dudes break dance. I remember, and this is not to date myself, but growing up, when I was in Compton, I would see dudes carrying around cardboard. And like I get it, people were recycling cardboard. They do that shit in trucks. You might make a little bit of money doing that shit, but these dudes
Yeah.
are carrying it. And they had the boom boxes and shit. And I'm a little kid, and they set up, they throw a little bit of sand on there, and they're doing moves. But I didn't know that had anything to do with the rap shit or the graffiti shit. They're playing
Yeah.
rap music, or they're playing. It was kind of a weird, like, I don't know what this is, but I want in.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of this. It kind of draws you in, and then eventually you find out, like, well, technically they call this, and it's a part of this culture. And you're like, well, fuck, I want to be a part of this. Like, I love all the aspects, the b boys, the DJs, graffitis, the MC, like all that. Like
Yeah.
every element, I loved it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. You just gravitate towards it. Um, and then to kind of mention some, because I was doing a little bit of research on you, and I saw that you've collabed with like really like dope, well-known, respected MCs like Master Ace, Shabam Sadiq, Rozcos, Tumex. The list goes on. So you said obviously MC is something that's earned, not given. So how did you build up your catalog to be able to like collaborate with some of these bigger names?
I think for starters, being from, the LA underground, uh, a lot of it is like kind of carving out your own space because, Project Blowed, a lot of these people wouldn't let you just show up and kind of just claim some shit.
Yeah.
So I did the battle circuit for a minute, but that was never, the end game. I never wanted to get into being an MC just to rap about being an MC,
Yeah.
about how good I am, how much you suck, etc. I wanted to write songs for real human beings because I'm having a real human experience. But it was show and prove. You want to rap? You want to talk about shit? Okay, prove you got it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of jumped into the battle rap scene for a minute, and I battled a lot of prominent dudes that are doing battles to this day, making 10 G's, 20 G's a battle.
Oh.
And we were doing these things, and it was more or less for me to earn my spot.
Hmm.
And from there, it was like, all right, okay, I did that, proved I could rap, but I want to write songs. I want to write songs that have longevity, that resonate with people.
Yeah.
So I kind of fell back from the battle stuff, and I started working on my first project. And I talked about a lot of different things, and I put out a couple projects. And my boy Izzy was like, all right, cool, this shit is dope. You've obviously earned your stripes here. You proved this, but we need people to see that you can kind of keep the pace with somebody of this level. So we started reaching out to other people that we respected, which is, Tumex, Master Ace, all these people. And
Hmm.
luckily, they kind of heard the music, they saw the direction, and they were like, all right, that's hip hop. We could fuck with that. So
Yeah.
I've been blessed to collaborate with a lot of those dudes. And Sean P, rest in peace. That was somebody I got to tour with his last U.S. tour. Um, I guess it's a sacrifice. You try to maintain this, you try to uphold this level of hip hop, and you know it's more losses than gains, but the gains are great, and I've been
Yeah.
blessed to work with a lot of those people.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
really dope. And ironically, like now moving on to your latest project, Dance on My Grave. Ironically, that has no features. You mentioned in one of your IG posts that the only features on there are your demons, which I thought that was really dope to say that. But
thank you.
how did this project like come along? Or like what inspired it? I can tell a little bit from like hearing the tracks what inspired it, but I would like obviously to hear from you, and what was like the creative process of it, and what do you want your listeners to take away from this project?
You know, I think the one thing that I touched on and I keep repeating is I'm having an authentic experience, and hopefully we all are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and I can only say so much about how good I am. You know, at some point I got to prove it. Music is made to make you feel, and I know how I feel.
Yeah.
So having, this year's been fucking horrible. I've lost, a lot of my friends to drug overdoses, suicide, murders, like a lot of stuff like that. It's been a horrible year, health issues.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, well, fuck, am I gonna do another album about how fucking awesome I am? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or am I gonna touch on reality? Like my feet are still on the ground. I bleed like you. So I made this to talk to people. This is my phone call to people. This is my last letter to somebody before they put me in the fucking electric chair. That's how I approached it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't afraid to leave it all there. And it's no disrespect to a lot of MCs. I know a lot of them got to stay in character. They got to do the Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, whatever. They got to maintain a character.
Hmm.
For me, I am my character. I haven't created an avatar, split personality to become that, to kind of get away from who and what I am. Uh,
Yeah.
I wanted to give people what was really me. And there's a lot of stuff that I've carried and I've never discussed, which is, the issues with, drugs, like having, my family members, any drug you can name, heroin, crack, speed, any fucking drug, pills, whatever.
Yeah.
I've had family members be addicted, overdose, and die, or luckily make it back from those drugs. And a lot of that stuff isn't really discussed. People talk about selling them, people talk about using them, but where's the middle ground? Where's that area where it's like, yo, I survived that? You know what I'm saying? Nobody
Yeah.
talks about that because it opens up this vulnerability. And I feel like hip hop has this street tough killer, shoot 'em, beat 'em up, make money, fuck bitches. I get that. But I mean, even with Biggie, there's a reason why he's in the studio. I got his picture on the wall. Uh, because I'm a fucking piece of shit. It ain't hard to tell. You know what I mean? Like, you have to come from the heart at some point, eventually. Otherwise, that's just gonna eat you up. You can't be a cartoon the whole time.
Yeah.
So this album came from that. Was living a real life, being around these people where, okay, I might have had a certain vibe. I picked certain beats for something else,
Hmm.
and then I got a phone call about something, and I'm like, well, fuck, I don't even want to rap about how good I am. That shit is irrelevant. Uh, I'm fighting for custody of my kid. I'm just trying to be a dad. I don't give a fuck about being this or that to somebody out there in the fake world.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from. And the title, Dance on My Grave, comes from the fact that people will wait until you die to acknowledge you, to basically say, yo,
That's true.
oh, I always knew it was this. Or, yo, he was this, or she was that, or it wouldn't be this if she didn't. Like they try to create this dialogue, this bullshit story where it's like, yo, you scrolled right past my shit while I was alive. You didn't tune in at all.
Yeah.
And now you want to say I'm this and I'm that because people that had it, like when Nipsey passed, for example, there was people that were genuinely touched by his music while he was alive.
Hmm.
But then you see a good 75% of people that pop up because they need a picture for their Instagram. They need to be validated like they exist. So
Yeah.
because Nipsey existed and he's gone, they got to show up to prove that they exist. And it's unfortunate that, shit is really vain. like that. But that's why I named it what I named it, Dance on My Grave, because if you won't give me my flowers while I'm alive, more than likely you'll come dance on my grave just to get your little shine.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's I really like I said I really loved the EP. It resonated like you said. You talk about like real life shit and relatable topics because like you said, not a lot of MCs do that nowadays. They just kind of like you said do the braggadocio, typical like rap, where they're just bragging about themselves, but that doesn't have like you said longevity. Like this EP will obviously outlive you your legacy. So really like I salute you. I really enjoyed this project.
I
It's one that you
appreciate it.
can yeah, it's one that you can like put on repeat. Especially the one that I liked was I think Out of Reach is what you call it, and then Wrong Road. Um, especially Out of Reach because it's
Thanks.
something you can relate to where when somebody passes away, a close friend or family member, really like deep track that you have there.
It's weird because it's obviously a true story, and the song opens with me saying, ain't it crazy how life could change in one night? Heard it was
Hmm.
my gun that took you out your son's life. And it's open ended. It leaves a lot of questions where it's like, well, did I take his life?
Yeah,
Or you know what I mean? I'm in some way responsible for him not being here, and he's out of reach. I can't, there's nothing I could do or say to reach out to him. And the chorus is basically like, if you could talk to a friend like he's still here, heard his voice in a dream and it's real clear. If you could say two words, what would the words be? Said, I'm sorry out loud. I hope you heard me. Because that's what I would say. Because the
yeah,
opening lines are basically saying, yo, I heard it was my gun. And like, that piece of metal means nothing to me. That shit
yeah,
has no value. But I lost you, and I'm sorry.
yeah,
So, I scroll through my shit, and I see on Instagram friends that I follow that passed away. It's hard for me to unfollow them. I know they're not going to post anything, but it's hard for me to unfollow that account because I don't need status. I don't need one less. You know what I mean? I just
yeah,
leave it there. It does hurt to see, but it's a real thing. And I feel like the Outer Reach song is kind of touching on that, and that's why people identify with it. And again,
yeah,
that's why I got into hip hop. That's why I got into rap.
yeah. To
You know what
like
I'm saying?
inspire, yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah. That is yeah. That I can not me personally can relate, but I know my younger sister lost a friend super young as well. And when you're saying about like deleting somebody on Instagram that's no longer here, like I think she hadn't even deleted his number for like a year. I forgot how long it was, but it's hard to like let go, that piece of that person.
Yeah. Like, look, I just want to see even if it hurts, I want to see your little, your default picture. I want to be reminded. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
delete that. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. Yeah. And what's your
So
favorite track off the project for you?
honestly, and this is gonna sound weird, but I don't really, I'm not a big fan of my own shit because I always feel like I could do better. A lot
Yeah.
of times I listen and I hear what I could have done. I
Hmm.
hear, mistakes that the average person probably wouldn't notice. But I will say that I did get to talk about a lot of things that I never got to talk about. So,
Yeah.
like on Good Man, I got to say, uh, you ever play Suicide Hotline? Tell your homie stop crying just to get a phone call to tell you that he stopped trying? I'm not lying. I get to say things like that because it's honest, it's open, I needed to say that fuck because I'm sitting here eating myself up because I'm one of the last people that talked to this person before they killed themselves. You know,
Oh,
if I don't get to exercise that, then what the fuck? Why am I doing this rap shit? So
yeah.
that I appreciate the fact that I got to do it, and the production was so well. Shout out to
Hmm.
John Henry. And the question is basically like, yo, am I a good man? Like I try my best, but you got to understand where I'm at. Like
Yeah.
walking with this halo balanced on my two horns. It's got one wrong step, might have spoke too soon. I'm where these bitches swallow cock and the coke balloons. Cause it's like, you ain't trying to save Gotham, play possum. Don't be a hero. The wrong glance will bring your chances down to zero. I walk a fine line. Be careful if you follow me. You'll end up at the gate sent to God with my apology. Cause it's like, look, I'm not perfect. I'm
Yeah.
asking God, yo, am I a good man? Like I've done wrong, but I've done some pretty right shit too, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, so it begs the question. That's one of the songs that I'm proud of because I got to say a lot. Uh, the title track, "Dance on My Grave," I got to talk about a lot of things with my mom and confronting things within the music industry. For example, I said, this was all done for my sister and my son. She said, "We're cursed. You got to fight that, girl. Brown kid, black music in this white man's world. When life throws a punch, you throw one right back, girl." Right? So I got to say, hey, look, within the music industry, I'm expected to look, sound, and act and carry myself a certain way and be marketed
Yeah.
a certain way because of the way I look. My ethnicity, people of a similar ethnicity, well, let's put them over here, let's put them over there, and kind of, for me, it was like, nah, I'm hip hop. I'm not gangster rap. I'm not cholo rap. I'm not this. I'm not that. Like I'm fucking hip hop. I'm gonna talk about an experience that black, brown, white, Asian, etc. Everybody can identify with because it's a human
Exactly.
experience, and
Yeah.
that's you know. But I got to say that because a lot of people really won't give you your props. They won't. And again,
Yeah.
it goes hand in hand with the title. It's like "Dance on My Grave." Later on, when they have a minute to stop and listen, they're gonna say, "Hey, this was a real person that existed,"
Exactly.
and I wish I would have heard this then.
Yeah.
But I'm glad people were listening now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. Yeah. You have a great project. Um. And then you also, like I said, you run your own podcast. You actually just brought it back, right? Is it like a specific season that you're on for your podcast, or was it your first time?
You know what? It's weird because like we started at Super Audio Network. Shout out to Dre, Super Audio Network. And for me, like because I've done radio shows, I've been a host. I did the interviews for Underground Hip Hop Blog.
Okay.
I've been blessed to interview DMX, Immortal Technique, and all these big names as MCs and producers. Necro, and having my own radio show. Shout out to OG Husky Radio. Podcast seemed kind of natural, but the thing
Mhm.
was yo, I don't want to talk about rap.
Yeah.
Like I love rap.
Yeah.
I love rap, but I got homies that are barbers that used to rap or used to produce. I
Mhm.
want to talk about my homie who's a barbecue chef that opened a restaurant and his unique menu and how somehow hip hop influenced his menu. Actors, actresses, fashion stylists. Like, I want to talk to people that were touched by hip hop,
Mhm.
but don't rap. Maybe they did rap, maybe they did produce, maybe they did DJ. But I kind of want to open it up to people that are artists outside of rap
Okay.
because I feel like that's something that's kind of neglected in a way. Like I have a friend of mine named Tyler,
Mhm.
dope dude, big supporter, crazy hip hop head, uh, well versed in hip hop,
Mhm.
north, south, east, west, whatever. He knows a lot of shit, but he's a bartender,
Okay.
and but that's his arena.
Hmm. Yeah.
So he's gonna tell you about this bourbon and this whiskey and this is from Afghanistan and like, people got to smuggle this through the mountains and like, what I mean, shit like that. Like
Mhm.
that's interesting to me
Yeah.
as a that's why I created my podcast was like I could talk to my friends that rap and make beats and that's cool,
Mhm.
but I wanted to talk to people that were doing things beyond that, but also talk to people that do rap
Yeah.
and have a unique perspective. Like your perspective is dope because the horror stuff,
Yeah.
which is why I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm down. I'll make time because I feel like the horror stuff is its own little bubble,
Yeah. It's stone
and
culture. Yeah.
it is, and like for me, sometimes you're around people that don't like scary movies.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, yo, I gotta watch. I have to. So I'll wait till you're gone, and I'm gonna put this on. But I gotta see it. Like it's a
Yeah.
remake of this, or I'll pull up something from the '80s. I watched The Gate the other day, and it's
Okay.
what's his name? Stephen Dorff. Uh,
Oh yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
super cheesy. It was super cheesy. But I remember seeing that when I was a kid, and it fucking blew my mind though with the little claymation dudes fucking coming out, the little demons and dragging them. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that what you're doing is unique. So that's why I'm like, hell yeah. And that's what I want on my show
Yeah.
is I want people that are outside of the box and aren't doing the typical shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because I was gonna ask you about that too. Like, what's like, what do you want to do with your podcast? So you kind of answer my question there. But yeah, because a lot of people, like you said, have hip hop podcast, which is not really unique nowadays. There's a lot of hip hop podcasts. So that's why, like you said, I did the horror thing and combined those two things because nobody was really doing that. So it's kind of cool that you're bringing like people from different arenas, like you said, bartenders, barbers, all that stuff. Do you guys like speak about specific topics, or is it just like whatever comes to mind?
So initially, like I started off where I was able to interview a couple people. I had the homie Gift Revolver, who's done stuff for like he's done a cover for like Killer Army. He's done stuff for
Oh
Wu
wow,
Tang.
yeah,
Uh, you know, great graphic designer, comic book artist, can rap. His brother's great as well,
hmm
but they're influenced by hip hop, but their comic book stuff, Spawn, Marvel, DC, you name it, Dark Horse comics, whatever. So they're bringing that side to it because there's a lot of people like, yo, you don't tell me all you listen to is rap. That'd be pretty sad. If all
yeah,
you do is listen to rap, watch rap documentaries, fucking paid in full all day, like is that all you fucking do? Like there's got to be other stuff to influence what you're doing, right?
exactly.
And that's kind of why I wanted these people on. So Gift Revolver brought that angle. I had Danny California, who's done management. She's been an artist herself. She's done a ton of stuff. So she's giving you different perspectives, plus the female angle as far as being in the industry. You
Yeah,
know, dudes working an angle just to try to, sleep with her. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
touch on these things because
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that are unaware. If they're outside of the industry, they don't think that that's real, or they've never even heard of that. So
yeah,
that's why I brought on these particular guests because I wanted that. Now I have Asimov, I have Little Javi, the homie Lone. So we're
uh,
kind of building ourselves up. So we got to cool back and forth to throw the ball around before we bring in a guest.
okay,
But again, the guests that I want to have on are people who are influenced by hip hop, but don't necessarily make hip hop.
okay. Yeah, that's dope. That's a good different take on it. Um, and kind of moving on a little bit to a different topic. How has the pandemic affected you creatively? Obviously, you put this EP, but has it inspired you? Have you been working more now that you're like, forced to be home?
You know what? I mean, shit, where I'm at now is, I converted this little spot into a studio. I got a little gym on the other side here. Uh, I've tried to make the most, I've always tried to make the most of where I am, the time I have, and things like that.
Yeah,
Uh, and, being incarcerated, somewhat institutionalized, I've kind of figured out like, well, if they lock us down, like, I'm not looking at it like we're locked down. I've been like locked down. So
yeah,
this is not really that bad. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I can still run to the gas station. I can still grab a pizza from here. I can still see the homie down the street. That's not locked down.
yeah,
Uh, for me, as far as creative, there's a certain vibe when you're around people. What I miss most is obviously shows,
yeah,
because we met at a show. Like Shabam Shadiq came out. Shout out to Billy No Jokes, the homie Coach Doe, PD Gaines, uh, everybody, that made that happen.
yeah,
Um, and the shows for me was like that's where I got to connect with other human beings. I never wanted to be a rapper, a studio rapper that just put out material and kind of hid behind a veil. I wanted to meet people, shake hands, talk, drink a beer, whatever, smoke a blunt, crack jokes,
yeah,
because I don't know how long I got. So I want to share the time I have with people that are real. They're in the same space as me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Something brought us here for a reason. So that's what I miss most is the shows. As far as creativity and things like that, I mean, I could rhyme. I'm in prison writing rhymes. They asked ODB, uh, what is yo? You must have come out with a couple of albums. And ODB was like, yo, fuck that. I was just trying not to get stabbed. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that does play a big role in it, where it's like, hey, you're kind of looking over your shoulder, but if you're able to write rhymes and you're able to come up with stuff, great. So this lockdown hasn't really affected me too much in that aspect, but I do miss the live shows for sure.
yeah. I agree with you. I do miss that as well. Do you feel like it's ever gonna go back to like whatever you call like the new normal, or do you think it's gonna be like a little bit of like live streaming and like small venues,
You know what's weird though is like I don't see how me performing right here is interesting to you.
right? Yeah, that's why I love
uh,
going to concerts because I love that like you said, the human experience, like you
yeah,
being with strangers and like listening to the same music and
because
you know.
you could, the people in front of you, standing in front of you, the sound system, the smell in the room, like everything is, it's tangible. You can smell it, taste it, feel it. It's really real. So with this, I feel like this might hurt hip hop in a sense that a lot of dudes are going to create an identity that they can project here on the camera,
Mhm.
and they might not necessarily be able to back up in the real world, but that doesn't matter because it's harder to monetize the real world than it is
Yeah,
to monetize this world. You can
that's true.
monetize this. It's harder to monetize the real world. If you don't got a good show, you suck. People aren't going to buy tickets. They're not going to buy merch if your merch sucks.
That's
So
true.
it's easier to monetize this because I can be whoever the fuck I want. And if rap doesn't work out for me, then I'll go back to doing this or that or this or that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it'll hurt hip hop in that sense. Uh, as far as artists that are already doing hip hop, it's gonna test you because hopefully it makes you come out with a lot of stuff that you weren't able to really do or say previously. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, if it doesn't, then you're just gonna regurgitate ideas and songs and things you've already done. You know?
Yeah, you gotta like, kind of move with the times and like, innovate. Um, so moving on to, usually I try to switch it up in the middle of the interview to like the horror side of it. So, switch it up a bit outside of hip hop. What's your favorite scary movie, or if you have more than
Right.
one, and
This
why?
is gonna sound dumb. It's gonna sound real dumb because I tell people this and they're like, "Yo, of all fucking movies, really?" Uh, well, let me start with this. The movie that scarred me the most, horror movie, but it wasn't a horror movie. It was fucking Willy Wonka.
Oh my God,
It was a scene
the
where
little
they're in
bubble
the
bus.
boat, arms crawling on people's faces and shit. I was not ready for that.
Yeah,
So that kind of worked me a little bit. And, I saw the Freddy Kruegers and the Jasons and the Michael Myers. I saw all that. I don't know. That shit just kind of got me though.
yeah,
I was afraid of those guys, but that shit scared me in a different way.
yeah,
Where I was like, man, that's creepy as fuck. So that was my introduction to something that was more psychologically scary,
yeah,
as opposed to pop out and stab you or there he is behind the curtain scary.
yeah.
That was like, whoa, what the fuck was that? Um, Another one that I tell people that's kind of like, what, really? Was the movie I think it's called The Haunting. It has
Is it with
uh
Catherine Zeta-Jones, that one?
yes. All right,
Okay.
there's one scene. I guess what it is the fact that they incorporated little kids.
Yeah, little kids.
And
Yeah,
there's the little carvings of the little kids,
yeah,
and you hear them running through the walls. And apparently, the dude that built the house used to burn little kids in a furnace or some fucking crazy shit. And the little kids haunted the house. And
yeah.
there was a scene where the faces turn, and it was just reversing the frame. I understand how the editors did it,
Hmm.
but for that split second, I was like, whoa, with the music, like that was creepy as fuck.
Yeah,
And really, they wanted that lady to come there to free them because the owner of the house burned these little kids and their spirits were trapped. That
yeah.
movie.
That movie's a good movie. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Aside from that, the typical shit. I like the new Halloween movie. Um, I was trying to tell people like, yo, it's not the corny Jason in space. Like they
Jason
did it
X.
justice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I tried to watch that the
she
other
was
day and
bad.
I fucking I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
At least you didn't pay in theaters to go see that. I paid for that.
Oh,
Not
shit, imagine
fucking.
I would have been pissed.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree with you. The Haunting it's a good one. That's a slept on movie. Is there any other ones that stand out to you, or those are like the main ones?
Um, like I said, uh, the gate was another one that I don't know why it stuck with me. I think it was because the is it protagonist? The protagonists were little kids. Stephen Dorff,
Okay.
uh, little kids. So
Yeah.
I'm used to seeing little kids in Alien. I mean, ET, like friendly aliens and shit like that.
Yeah.
And now you got these little kids fighting fucking the seventh fucking dimension of hell and shit like that. Like, whoa, what the fuck? And I think that's what got me was like I wanted to fight. And the little kid that was into heavy metal shit and spells and all that, because I knew kids like that.
Yeah.
They had problems at homes, and then they were just kind of like they were a little wild with their shit, and like I don't know. That movie stuck with me. Candyman, of course, was another one. I think it was
Yeah.
the bathroom scene that fucked with me
Oh yeah.
because uh, I think it was I went to the beach one time. I don't remember where it was,
Hmm.
and it just reminded me of that fucking bathroom with all the bees in the toilet.
Yeah.
And oh fuck this.
Yeah, it does remind you of that actually, like the dirty ass fucking beach bathrooms.
Yeah. So Candyman was another one. I mean, there's a few. There's a long list, but
Yeah.
I think whenever there's a lot of hype around a scary movie, I I might not jump to see it right away. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Exorcist, of course, that's a classic. There's
Yeah.
certain ones that I like, but if it's overly hyped, I'm like, well, let's see. I guess I like more of the psychological scary shit than the jump scares.
Okay. And
You know what I mean?
who's like your favorite like villain or horror villain? Anybody that stands out to you?
Um, I feel like Michael Myers is dope. Jason is dope. Freddy is dope. Um, because they all have different personalities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, like I watch Rick and Morty, and
That Freddy Krueger episode.
yeah, when they make fun of him with Scary Terry,
Yeah, that was
and
a funny episode.
that one was really good. So that one, like Freddy Krueger was funny.
Yeah.
At first, he wasn't funny, and then I think the first time I don't remember when I heard him crack a joke. It didn't make him less scary though.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was like dark sense of humor.
yeah, it was like, oh fuck, like he's gonna kill me and he's gonna crack a joke afterwards. Uh, but I do like Michael Myers. I do like Jason because they're quiet, they're relentless. Uh, I was talking about a good one was Pinhead.
Yeah, I
I was
love
talking
that guy.
about
Yeah.
Pinhead the other day. He what's the fucking box called?
Oh, it has a couple like the puzzle box, but they call it like Lemmerchon's box and the Lament configuration. They have a couple names for it.
So I watched one of them not too long ago, and I remember that one was a different kind of scary. Again, more mental,
Yeah.
and it was a scene where the dude kills the girl's husband or some shit. The box is in the attic. It was fucking weird, of course.
Yeah.
But I remember the scene where the fucking hooks, the chains and the hooks shoot out, and they grab the dude by his skin,
Yeah.
and they pull him apart and rearrange him. And I was like, oh,
Yeah, that's the first one. Yeah, that
it was
shit's
pretty. Yeah, yo, that
yeah.
was a different type of scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite like films because Pinhead has a lot of like it's like you said, it's psychological. He has like a lot of deep lines. Like now as an adult, I can relate to what he actually says.
The shit he says, right?
Right? Yeah. And that film just touches on like pain versus pleasure, which I thought was interesting because nobody really would talk about a lot of like sexuality in the 80s. It was like in the movies, but nobody really talked about it. Pinhead was the first one that kind of started talking about that, so I thought that was interesting. But yeah, that guy's it's creepy. Um,
And his voice, the word that I learned from him was abyss. He said something
yeah,
about the abyss.
yes,
And I was like, fuck, I want to know what that means because it sounds pretty fucking crazy. And I remember going and looking it up and I was like, oh fuck. Like he's saying some super way out shit. Um, but he wasn't jump scary. He wasn't like it was just like you fucked up if you see him. You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah, I think I even saw like Jedi Mind Tricks actually sampled one of the his lines.
They
I
did.
think right.
They
So I was
did.
like,
Yeah.
that
Yep.
was pretty dope. Um, and if you, this one's like a rare question to ask, but if you could make any horror movie like survival rule, what would it be? Like now in this modern, if it was like a modern horror movie, what would be your
Uh,
survival?
well, I think back in the day it was like a lot of teenagers running around and they were making dumb decisions on purpose.
Yeah,
Um,
like don't say you're gonna come back because then you won't come back.
shit like that. Yeah, where you're kind of like, you know, maybe you shouldn't go that way because that's where the sound is coming from.
Yeah,
That kind of shit. I mean, that's pretty basic shit. But
Yeah,
now I feel like intuition. I think a lot of people ignore their intuition.
that's true.
Uh, so if you feel like something's off, you should probably go.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
In
true.
those movies, they kind of stuck around and waited to see if that's what it was, or if that was really her or him or
Yeah,
whatever.
like the curiosity got the best of him.
But again, like they wouldn't make for great movies if they didn't do that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I've been in situations where like I'm kind of glad I didn't go because they're like, "Yo, right after you left, this happened," and I'm like, "Oh shit." Either coincidentally or you kind of feel like the vibe's a little weird.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's that's a good one. Yeah, because I actually have like a little anecdote that I could relate to. Because I remember we went to like a hotel party back when I was like in, I think after high school. And same thing, you said you feel that intuition, like, oh, something's not right. So we left early, and yeah, like sure enough, like maybe an hour after, we get a call that one of our friends got stabbed, and they had to rush him to the ER. And I was like, oh shit. So I guess some
yeah,
people just crashed the party that weren't invited, and they were trying to steal the gifts, and they caught him, and then they stabbed my friend. So I was like, that shit was crazy. But
but you feel it and you
exactly,
can't explain it. So my survival tip would be trust your intuition for sure.
that's a good one. That's a good one. And do you yourself like believe in the supernatural, or have you ever had any experiences that you can share?
I've had I've had an experience where like this is when I knew it was real. Um, I lived in these apartments in Long Beach,
Hmm.
and my manager lived on the other side. The other side of the wall uh, was her apartment, and she was into santeria and shit like that. I
Uh,
remember I went in one time, and you know, she was friendly. So she was like, "Hey, come in," she would drink and shit like that, and
yeah.
like, she would flirt with a lot of dudes or whatever. Nothing ever happened, thank God, because I found out some other crazy shit. But I went in there one time and I was like, she's got an empty bird cage, she's got this bunch of weird shit. There's saints I never saw. There's a
Yeah.
little altar here, the fucking, cigars and just weird shit. And I asked her, and she told me like, this is what I do.
Hmm.
All right, cool. So was in my apartment one day, and when you have sleep paralysis, where you kind of feel like you're being pinned down and shit like that. I've had those. Everybody's had those.
Hmm.
But this was different. This one was unique because I felt it, and my bed was pressed against the wall. So uh, my headboard was a studio apartment, so my headboard
Hmm.
was pressed against the wall, and my eyes opened. I felt the pressure of something that got on me,
Hmm.
and my eyes opened. I couldn't move, obviously, but my
Yeah.
eyes opened. So I'm looking at the blinds of my window, and my bed is moving. I know I'm moving. My bed is moving, but
Wow.
I
Yeah.
physically can't move my arms, legs, head, anything, but my eyes are open.
Yeah.
So naturally, I'm like, all right, well, if the blinds are moving, it's an earthquake. Eventually, I'm gonna be able to just jump up and whatever, jump in the doorway, whatever the fuck, right? I'll be cool.
Yeah.
But the blinds weren't moving, just the bed. So I had this sleep paralysis where I'm like, oh fuck, I'm moving, but I can't move my arms, legs, anything.
Yeah.
Blinds aren't moving. This is something else. I didn't pray. I didn't do any of this other stuff. I just kind of waited and I was like, I know what this is. I know what this is. Waited it out. Finally, like I just used everything I had in me, pressed against it, and I was able to get up. And this is
Yeah.
when I knew that it was really real. I got up and my bed had moved almost a foot away from the wall.
Oh wow.
So I didn't do that. I didn't have a seizure. I wasn't like, you know what I mean? Nothing like that.
Yeah.
How did my bed get that far away from the wall and nothing else in the house was moving? Because you look at the wall, paintings, glass,
Everything's intact.
decorations,
Yeah.
anything. Shit moves, and it wasn't moving.
Yeah.
But somehow I moved. So when I got up, I had to push my bed again back against the wall
Hmm.
because of that. And that's when I was like, all right, this is a real thing. And I've had a ton of experience. Was the one that kind of sealed the deal for me. Was like, all right, this is a real thing.
Yeah. Was it like you think it was something like something that actually like was on you, or was it just sleep paralysis, or a combination of?
I feel like whatever it was, uh, because it attaches itself to you.
Yeah.
That's what I was told. And I like, I've walked, like, I always walk through the alleys. I take the back ways. I like, you know, um, if you're in a certain mood, if you feel a certain way, they attach themselves to you because
Hmm.
of your energy.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, you kind of absorb that, you sponge that, you welcome it, and they kind of hitchhike. So they're attached to you. You're not aware of it. You fall asleep, and once you're completely vulnerable, that's when it starts to reveal itself and things like that. So that night, I had to walk through an alleyway, and I was thinking a lot of negative shit, feeling a lot of negative shit. So whatever it was that was out there waiting for that, and it was at night. So whatever it was, I kind of felt like it trailed me home, waited till I was there, and try to make itself known.
Yeah.
Uh, and it did, but it didn't shake me to where I'm like, I'm super spooked. I didn't run to church or anything like that. It
Yeah.
just let me know that those kind of things exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Um, and what is your greatest fear? And then do you think you'll ever overcome it?
Hmm. Sharks. And I'm gonna tell you why. So I'm afraid of sharks because number one, you can't breathe underwater. So, like for example, if I'm in a jungle and there's a lion,
Yeah.
I could breathe, I could run, I could climb a tree, I could do something, throw rocks, I could throw a stick. When you're If it pulls you underwater, you're struggling, you're just taking in big gulps of air. There's no air, so you're breathing
Yeah.
in water. So now you're drowning. This shit is pulling you down further and further. You can't outswim it because that's what it does every fucking day. Uh, Supposedly you hit it on the nose and it goes off. I don't know about that. I don't want to find out. But there's just way too many disadvantages with being pulled into the ocean by a fucking giant
Shark.
blender. You know,
Yeah.
like I don't fuck that. So that's
Yeah.
my big fear. Is like, think about it. If you've ever seen Jaws, super underrated as far as a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's more of like what could be there, the possibility. It's not so much that it's not spooky, but it's like it could be there. And if you've ever been in the ocean and you swam out a little too far, sometimes, at least me, I catch myself like, oh fuck, I don't know what's under my feet, right?
Yeah. I don't fuck with the ocean. I don't swim, so I'm like, no, I'm good.
For that reason though, right?
Yeah.
Am I right though? It don't got to be a shark. It could be fucking
Exactly.
any other
Anything. Yeah.
anything. Just I'm not trying to be pulled into the darkness and fucking
Into the
never be
abyss.
seen again, right? To the abyss. Fuck that.
um, and what are like two things that you would like to share that not a lot of people might not know about you?
Um, well, I'm pretty open with a lot of shit, but
Maybe like a hobby or some secret hidden talent or something.
somebody asked me that the other day. They're like, "Yo, what are your hobbies?" And because I'm independent, I don't necessarily have hobbies.
Mhm.
I just have a different facet of this. So, for example, okay, I'm doing music. I write songs, I podcast, whatever. But yo, I got to do graphic design because this single needs a cover, or this CD needs artwork, or this vinyl. Um, so I'll jump into that. Or something needs editing, so I might edit a little bit of video, or
Cool.
create a promo. So like when they say hobbies, unfortunately, a lot of my time is you know consumed by this, where I'm trying to
Yeah.
make this work. So I don't have time to golf. I don't have time to things like that.
Yeah.
But I'm a big movie guy. I love movies. Um, I like to draw shit like that. I guess if you want to call those hobbies, that those are two things that I definitely do. And most of the conversation that I have with people is a lot of movie quotes, a
Yeah.
lot of quotes from The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, F is for Family. Certain like cartoons and movies and shit. As I'm well versed in those little quotes from those shows and movies. So that's those are a couple things that I'm real big on.
Cool. And what for you? What has been your greatest accomplishment as a creative?
Just being able to do Dance on My Grave because I felt like there's some stuff on there that for 10 plus years, as long as I've been doing music recording, I wasn't able to say a lot of those things. And I kind of felt like, well, shit, all my friends are dying. Some of them are younger than me. or a couple years older than me. If I don't say this now, fuck, I'm never gonna be able to say it. I read a quote that said, "A lot of birds die with their music still in them."
Oh wow, that's deep. Yeah, it's a
And
good one.
when you think about it, you wake up in the morning, you take that shit for granted.
Yeah.
You open your window or your window's already open, you hear the birds, you know,
Yep.
and their music is in them. So they're constantly chirping, they're singing their songs, they're doing their thing. I don't want to die with my music in me. So my biggest accomplishment to date is being able to do and say a lot of the stuff that I said on the last project, Dance on My Grave. I don't want to attribute it to winning an award, going to Switzerland, doing this, working with this guy or that guy. It's been being able to do what I set out to do, which is say something real and connect with real human beings. That's been the ultimate goal.
Yep. Yeah, that's good. Um, and then the last question I usually ask to finish off the interview, what kind of legacy would you like to leave behind, either creative and personal?
I think really I just want to show people that like, hey, if it was a jam, you're a b-boy, you're an MC, be present, show up, do your thing. If you're not good enough there, if they laugh you out of there, go home, get nice, get better, practice, come back. You know, make your presence known. Let the world know you are here, which is why I have the name I have. Pawz One is basically like leaving your mark, because if you walk down the street right now and you look in the mud and you see paw prints, it's basically that animal saying, "Hey, I was here. At one point
Yeah.
in time, I was here." Um, so it's pretty much that. It's just letting people know, like, hey, be who you are and let people know you were here. Doesn't matter what you do. Like I said, if you're a cook, you're a fashion designer, you make movies, you write scripts, you're a comedian, just make your presence known. Go as hard as you can, because the world is very cruel, very ruthless. There's a lot of bullies out there. Just push through all that shit. That's the legacy I want to leave, because I know where I came from. Coming from, Compton, California. Yeah, I'm in the shadow of Eazy-E, NWA, Ice Cube. Uh, but I wasn't. My family, a lot of them didn't come from the side of being drug dealers. They came from being drug users.
Yeah.
So I'm basically a crack baby in essence, and I'm saying, hey, yeah, okay, I came from this side, but I'm a tough son of a bitch because I made it this far, and I could rap my ass off. So I'm here in the jam, and I'm gonna let my presence be known. So that's really the legacy that I want to leave, is to let people know that wherever they come from, it doesn't matter what they are, Indian, Asian, Hispanic, white, black, whatever the fuck. Just make your presence known. I just want to be an example for people like that come from not just nothing, but less than nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 Dope, man. I appreciate again your time. Talking with me.
Thank you.
And then, like I said, everybody go check out the EP, Dance on My Grave, streaming everywhere. Follow him at Pawz One. You can see below his Instagram, and that's your social media on everything, right? I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, man. Well, thank you again for your time. Anything else you want to shout out here before you head out?
Shout out to everybody watching this. I always say that at the end because shit, you made it this far. Just like in life, if you're after anything, a lot of people check out way too early. They quit way too early. If you made it this far, like, just know that what it is, whatever it is that you're after, is attainable. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
keep pushing. I wish you guys the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Thank you so much again for your time. Um, and yeah. All right. Peace, man.
Peace.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Again, this is Nightmare on Sedgwick Avenue, episode 5, season 2. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, have a good one. Peace.